Okay, Matt, you want to start us off?
Sure. Call the order the Board of Review for the Town of Lisbon on Wednesday, July 14th, 2021 at
I've got 6:06.
6:06. Roll call.
All right, Supervisor Beal,
Here.
we've got Citizen Gerke,
Here.
Supervisor Plotecker,
Here.
got Supervisor Brom.
Here.
We've got our attorney is present, we have our assessor present, and Clerk Capaza to record the minutes. In your packets, you do have the public notices for open book that was published on April 21st. You've got the notice of meeting to adjourn the Board of Review to a later date due to incomplete assessment roll that was published on April 21st. And you've got the long notice Board of Review for Wednesday, July 14th, 2021, that was published on June 9th. Next item on the agenda, we've got discussion and necessary action regarding approval of the June 10th, 2020 Board of Review minutes.
Are those minutes in here?
That is actually a typo. It should be May 24th, 2021.
It's right here.
Those I saw.
Yeah, these I saw. I was looking for the same thing.
So did you, at that May 24th meeting, you approved the minutes from
From
last
June
year?
10th, yes. I just failed to update it on the agenda. My apologies.
Okay. Can I just make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Review June 10th, 2020 meeting?
Or do you want to do it for May?
Uh,
So we're looking for May 24th, 2020.
Oh, 2021,
Yes.
as well as June 10th, 2020?
No, the June 10th was already approved at the May 24th
sorry.
meeting.
I
I
gotcha.
just failed to update the
I
agenda.
gotcha. Okay. I make that motion. The May 24th of 2021.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Becky. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next, we need to select a chair and a vice chair. Do we have any volunteers?
I make a motion, we appoint Mr. Gerke as chairperson and Becky as vice chairperson.
I second.
Motion by Linda, second by Doug. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Chairman Gerke, would you like to take over for the remainder of the agenda?
Sure. So item 6 on the agenda is to verify that a member has met the mandatory training requirements. I have, and I submitted an affidavit last year.
Correct.
Others?
Yep. I did mine.
I did mine.
Yep, we do have the
All right, so I think we only need,
training affidavit in here from both Becky and Doug from this year. And Matt and Mark are good through next year. So we've got 4 that have met the mandatory training requirements.
all right. So then next, item number 7 is to receive the 2021 assessment roll from the assessor.
Yes, I have the 2021 final assessment roll for the town of Lisbon present. I've also signed the assessor's affidavit dated to today's date, July 14th, 2021. I will just need the municipal clerk to sign and date this as well. And this affidavit should stay with the assessment roll. I'll turn this over right now.
All right. So then item 8 on the agenda is to review the 2021 assessment roll and perform statutory duties. So we can do that throughout the night, right?
Yes.
So there's nothing else we need to do there under perform statutory duties. We can move on to item 9, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that,
So we
please?
can move on to item 9 at this time?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So review notices of intents to file objection. I understand we have one.
We do have one, and you should have a copy of the objection in your packet for a property on Stonehouse Drive.
I am terrible with names, but is this is your property?
Yeah, it's Mr. Putek.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, you're Thaddeus, correct?
Thaddeus.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
So that is the property owner is here. So I guess item number 10 is the hearings on the objection file. So do we want to just go ahead and jump right in, or do we want to wait for any reason? If I should just, I'm fine with going ahead and starting, right?
Sure.
All right, you want to come on up to the front here?
So we are recording for the record, so any comments you have do need to be spoken into the microphone so that it comes up on the recording.
All right, I had a kind of an overview that I've used in the past, but I see you have one in here as well. Let me just take a quick look at this.
Yep, I've included a script as well as the findings of fact determination and decision form that we will use for deliberation.
Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of give you an overview. We've got some time here, so just if you have any questions while I do this, let us know. So we're here tonight to hear about review property assessments, not property taxes. So no reference to property taxes should be made. You are here tonight attempting to appeal your 2021 assessment. The assessment is as of January 1st of 2021. So we'll be talking about the condition of your property and the real estate market as of that specific date. So the state of Wisconsin, not the town of Lisbon, has set up the process in a way that puts the burden of proof on you, the property owner. So more specifically, the assessor is assumed to be correct. You must show that an error has been made in that assessment. Therefore, for you to be successful tonight, you must establish and support your appeal by presenting factual information that supports your claim. You understand that? All right. Furthermore, the state of Wisconsin has stressed that this board must consider available information in a hierarchy. And only if information is not available from one are we allowed to move on to the next. So more specifically, we first consider a recent arm's length sale of your property. If there has not been one, then we'll look at comparable sales. And for some reason, if there's no comparable sales, which is not that common, then other evidence will be considered. So you're going to be sworn in a few seconds. We'll then you'll present your testimony and any written information you have for the board. When you're complete, then the assessor will assessor will have a chance to cross-examine your testimony, followed by the board. And then the assessor will present his case, and then you'll have a chance to ask him questions along with the board here. And then we'll ask any following last questions, and then a brief summary, and then there'll be no interaction between the parties, and the board of review will make their determination. So the clerk, did I miss anything off of this other script? I think that covers pretty much everything, right?
I think that covers just about everything.
All right, so the clerk here will swear you in, and then at that point, we'd like for you to state your full name, address, and your opinion of the market value of the property as of January 1st, 2021.
Okay. So would all persons, including the assessor, intending to provide testimony for this hearing, please raise your right hand to be sworn?
Just raise your hand, right your hand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now on hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You have to say yes
Yeah. Okay.
or no. Might be.
Would each person please state your name and address for our record? Sir, would you go first
Okay, that is.
and speak into the microphone?
271 N North 6850 Stonehouse Drive, Lisbon.
Les Aaron's, Grota Appraisals, North 88, West 16593 Main Street, Menominee Falls.
Thank you.
All right. So we just have the form with us here. But can you go ahead and start with what you feel the
Yeah, this is
market
what I'm
value should
looking
be?
Exactly, yeah.
Real quick, before we get to that, we have either Maurice or Matt introduce just the case, property owner, tax key number, address,
Yes.
assessment year, all that stuff.
So this is for assessment year 2021, tax key number LSBT 0217070. Property address is West 271, North 6850 Stonehouse Drive, Lisbon 53089. Property owner is Thaddeus Patak.
And if I'm looking at the form correctly, the property owner states that the opinion of value is 455,000.
Oh, this is my opinion, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the objector's opinion.
Okay.
The, excuse me, the assessment rule currently has a value listed, land value of 144,000, improvement value of 372,000, for a total assessed value of $516,600.
All right. So now it is your turn again to present
Okay.
your case.
Yep.
If you want to start with passing out any information or
I don't have really, I don't know what information. I just know what I will state, what is the situation and what are the logical basis for my assessment and lack of logical basis for your assessment. Lack of logical basis. So for 2020, the assessment was 4,100. For this year is 516,600, which is 28.7%, 1 year increase. I don't know what are the logical basis for this kind of increase. When I discussed this with assessor, I didn't get anything, and there is nothing for the documentation received from your township. You know, there should be something. What are the logical basis? Because, you know, without this one, it's very difficult. You can claim the BLM is a peaceful organization despite burned houses and streets and cities. So this is the lack. I really struggle with the fact that there is nothing provided. So let this burden on me to prove what's going on. So the value based on the Zillow, this is what I dig into. 1 year from May 2020 to May 2021 for Lisbon is 12.9%. It is for Merton is 11% and very similar for Sussex. I look around. So this is index value, home value. Now, when we look at the median prices, of course, the prices are higher when I look at 15%, 16%, but they include prices of the new houses, which was elevated by $30,000 to $35,000 because due to increase of the lumber. If we look at the lumber prices in May was $1,680 for 1,000 linear feet, and now is $700. So it's already dropped $500. So of course, the prices of the new houses will be lower. So now let's look on the market value. I have the best example. I didn't make that a copy. But this house across the street. I have only two. Was purchased in 2014 for $485,000. Was put on the market last year for $619,000. This is increase in market value 27.6% over 7 years. Didn't sell last year. They put him on the market 2021 again for $619,000. Did not sell. They removed from the market. So this is the best example. Across the street, house, larger house with 5 bedroom and much bigger because I'm single guy, small house. So this is the best example of the market value. Increase from during 7 years is 27%. And your assessment is almost 9% from 2020 to 2021, 1 year. So this is the reason I am proposing 455, which is increase over 13%, which is close to the Zillow index value, 12.9, 12%. These are the logical basis. It's not science, but these are the data on the market. So this is my case.
All right, that's your case. Okay, so if you're resting, then we will allow the assessor to ask the property owner any questions that he may have.
I have no questions at this time.
All right, so this is the board's chance now to ask the property owner any questions that they might have.
Could you please tell me, could you explain for us just something about your house, sir? Is it a ranch or 2-story?
It's a ranch, small house.
How many square feet?
3 bedroom, 2,000.
Okay. 2 baths?
2.5.
2.5 baths? Okay.
No improvements, nothing.
Okay. You realize though, that if this goes up, it doesn't necessarily mean that your taxes are going to go up this coming year because we haven't.
We should probably just
Oh, I'm sorry.
keep it. I mean, we
I'm
asked the
sorry.
property owner to keep it on assessment. Let's
We
keep it
have
on
to
assessment
too.
ourselves.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay. I just know being in the real estate industry, the prices have gone up.
I think we can provide him some advice or discussion after the
Oh.
meeting, but I mean, do you have any questions for him on his
No,
case?
no, I'm done.
I don't have any questions. Does Becky or Doug,
No.
do you have any questions? No. All right, so then we will have the assessor present his case. And when the assessor is completely done with his case, then you'll have a chance at that point to ask any questions that you have.
You're taking this one? Here, go. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so what I handed out here is a packet that I had put together for the objecting property. Like stated, the subject property is located at West 271, North 6850 Stonehouse Woods.
Hey, Les, let me interrupt. Could you go through kind of your background and qualifications or any certifications that you have?
Oh, sure.
Just for the record.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. So my name is Les Ahrens. I've been employed with Grota Appraisals for 21 years. I'm a state certified level 2 assessor. And have taken many continuing education courses spanning from commercial to residential property. I've also taught a couple of those courses in the Assessors Institute, as well as the League of Wisconsin Municipalities courses for assessors in the state of Wisconsin. My experience really spans, it's multi-jurisdictional, multi-county, And I've experienced from farms to high-end lake properties and really everything else in between, as well as commercial properties throughout southeast Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Great. Again, the property is located at West 271 North 6850 Stonehouse Woods. The lot size itself is 1 acre. And if we look down from there, the structure itself is a 1-story ranch that was built in 2015. It is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It does have a 1 fireplace. We have the square footage listed at 2,083 square feet. It has a typical size, I would consider it a typical size attached garage at 905 square feet, and a small open porch or entryway just to the left of that attached garage in the photo. There are no outbuildings on this property. If you turn to page 2, that will show you the sketch that we have in our Apex system of the home. So you can see that really the only attachments on the home are the garage and the open porch. You move to the second packet that I supplied, and that has a heading 2021 sales comparison. Provided 5 recent sales that I believe are comparable to the subject property. Comparison 1, tax key number 0158-066. This I feel is a similar property to the subject. It is a little inferior, has a little inferior size and privacy compared to the subject. The subject's yard has a little bit of a wooded nature to the rear of it, where comparison 1 is truly open. The house itself is similar in size. It is a little bit larger than the subject at 2,187 square feet, about 100 square feet larger. Similar age, it was built in 2018 compared to the subject in 2015. It is lacking the 1/2 bath that the subject has. The attached garage is about 100 square feet larger. This property sold for $500,000 in November of 2020. And all of these sales are going to be time adjusted to January 1 of 2021. On our sale ratio analysis that we performed, overall throughout the town of Lisbon, we're still experiencing an ascending market. And for the year 2020, we estimate that ascending market typically was around 5%. So with everything being considered and adjustments being made for the size of the lot, the location, the size of the home, age, the different amenities, attachments, and number of rooms, comparison 1 is indicating a comparable market value for the subject of $526,200. If we move along to comparison 2, tax key number 0158-064. This property again has inferior size and privacy compared to the subject. It is only 0.69 of an acre compared to 1 acre. And again, it is a very open lot. Does not provide much privacy compared to neighbors. The structure itself is smaller than the subject at 1,940 square feet, so approximately 140 square feet smaller. It is newer, built in 2020 compared to the subject in 2015. That's 3 bedrooms, again lacking that 1/2 bathroom the subject has. Just a touch smaller attached garage and open porch. So again, making adjustments for those differences between comparison 2 and the subject, Comparison 2 is indicating a market value for the subject of $532,300. Comparison 3, tax key number 0158-050. Again, this property, the property size is inferior and does not have the privacy that the subject has. The lot size is 0.739 of an acre compared to the subject's 1. It's a similar size home, 2,036 square feet, so approximately 50 square feet smaller. It's of similar style, being a ranch home. It's built in 2017, so again, similar age compared to the subject. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. The attached garage is a little bit smaller, but the open porch is a little bit larger. That property sold for $485,000 in March of 2020. So again, making adjustments for lot size, privacy, home size, attachments, and again, that ascending market since this sold in March 2020 and we're valuing as of January 1, 2021. The adjustments made are compared to, the adjustments made on the property are indicating a market value of $540,400 for the subject property. If we turn to page 3 of this report, I do have 2 other comparisons. The first one is tax key number 0158-069. Again, this property is has inferior size and privacy compared to the subject at 0.774 acres. The home itself is larger at 2,243 square feet. So, approximately 160 square feet larger than the subject. It's of similar style and age, being a ranch built in 2018. Property has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. The attached garage is about 120 square feet smaller than the subject, but again, the porch is larger, being about a little over double the size. That property sold for $495,000 in January 2020. So again, taking into consideration the ascending market, the location, lot size, square footage, age, and attachments, this property is indicating a market value for the subject of $529,200. And lastly, we have a property on Denton's Run, tax key number 0216-050. This property is the same size as the subject, being 1 acre, but again, it's very level and open, does not have that privacy that the subject has, excuse me. The house itself is of similar style, being a ranch at 2,022 square feet. So again, approximately 60 square feet smaller than the subject. This property is a little bit older than the subject, being built in 2005. It's about 10 years older. It does have some basement finish at 850 square feet. Has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The attached garage is a little bit smaller and it does not have any porch square footage. This property sold for $507,900 in October 2020. So again, taking into consideration the ascending market, location, home size, age, attachments, and room count, this comparable is indicating a market value for the subject of $541,000. So we don't have a real recent sale of the subject property. Typically in a revaluation like this, we're looking back 2 to 3 years. 3 years at the most. 2 years certainly is a better indication of the market today. But these 5 examples are laying out a range in value for the subject property of between 526,200 on the low end to 541,000 on the high end, which I believe supports our current assessment of 516,600. That's all I have for now.
All right, so that's, you're done. And so this would, property owner, you have a chance to ask the assessor any questions on the information he's presented or otherwise.
Okay, first thing, which is pretty obvious, the assessment doesn't include anything about indoor finishes. We don't know if the other houses, what they have, if they have what kind of floor, what kind of appliances, everything. We don't know.
So are you asking the assessor any questions here?
No, this is my statement and comment. We don't know. Do you know what the other houses you listed?
One
about
second here.
indoor finish?
Our attorney's going to jump in here with some comments.
Right now, it's only question time, so you can ask any questions to the assessor that you have, and then.
We're going to, yeah, we'll offer some closing statements.
Yeah, and you'll have an opportunity to give your rebuttal.
Let me say, these are comments and, okay, so first.
So any questions, so
Okay, so
any
what-
questions you have? So he presented some detailed
Yep.
information here.
No,
You-
I went through all of them.
Okay,
right
so
now.
do you have any questions on
Yes.
the information that he's
Okay, so
presented?
the first, what do you know about indoor finishes of these houses comparable to mine?
Sure. So with these comparisons, what we certainly attempt to do is to perform an interior physical inspection on those to verify the finishes that we're seeing on the building plans that we obtain from the local building inspector. So typically those building plans have not only room sizes and dimensions, but they also list some of the interior finishes in the home being flooring, differences in flooring, if it has crown molding, if it's a cathedral ceiling, if it's a vaulted ceiling, and things of that nature. So in mass appraisal, and certainly we try to write notes in each property file as far as the most information we can collect with that. But a lot of that is wrapped up within the grade of the home. So we have to grade each home based on the exterior design of the home and then the quality of materials used to finish off the inside of the home.
So this is guess a little bit, because you don't know about improvement, exactly what happened during.
Well, we have a pretty, I feel we have a pretty decent idea of the makeup of these homes, especially because most of them have all been built in the last few years. So at worst.
15, 16, maybe 8, 3, yeah.
Yeah, so at worst, we would have certainly had worked off of the building plans first before we.
So we agree
tried to
there
inspect
is
them.
some guessing here. Okay, how do you do correction for location?
Correction for location.
Location, yes, because every house is a different location. How you do a correction for location?
Well, for location, if we see that there needs to be an adjustment for a location based on sales of the property, typically we do one of two things. We either use a percent influence in land, or we value the property differently based on the neighborhood that it sits in.
So again, guessing. Okay. The third question would be the adjustment, the detail of adjustment. I see for every house you have adjustment. Could you provide what is the logic for the adjustment? How was calculated based on what?
Sure. So essentially what we do is we work off of, give me 1 second here, so I state this correctly. So our base cost model is Wisconsin 2001 Volume 2, and that has our base costs. And from there, what we do is we recalibrate and rebuild our valuation model to get the assessments replicating the recent sales very closely. And then we statistically test that. And when we get to a point where, you know, our level of assessment is close to 100%, we have superior coefficient of dispersion, price-related differential, coefficient of variation. So we feel that there's good uniformity between properties. Then we take that valuation model, we apply it to all the non-sale properties. After we do that, we do a thorough review of those properties because, the valuation model works very well on probably 90% of the properties. The other 10% of the properties, we may have to manually manipulate that a little bit, give some types of adjustments for, an inferior location or superior location or things of that nature. So all of these dollar adjustments are coming right out of our valuation model. And these are showing the differences between, those comparisons and the subject property.
I know something about modeling, and I have to tell you, trash in, trash out. Whatever you put, you get crap. Sorry for language. But how you validate your model. Because this is every model you create, if it's scientific or not, you have to validate. I would like to learn about validation, your modeling.
Sure. Yeah, we statistically test our model.
And based on what tolerance,
using
confidence.
Right. So we statistically test our model using NCSS, and then as well as a statistical package that we have installed in Market Drive. So we measure the aggregate ratio, the mean, median, weighted mean, price-related differential, coefficient of variation and dispersion. There's two main goals really that we have. Is one is we want to make sure our level of assessment is close to 100%, and two, we want to make sure our valuations are uniform and equitable between similar type properties.
Of course, I cannot
done that.
question your model, but I said I am quite good in this one. The first one, everything is here, what you present is a market value. We're talking about assessment value. So, assessment value is completely different based on the history.
Okay, so this is your chance to ask any questions that you have of the testimony. So we're talking about market values, and that's what the assessor has presented,
Yes.
and you're presented market values. So if you have any questions about what the assessor has presented,
okay, so
this
now,
is your chance.
Okay, so now you put market value and also you put assessment value. So what is the ratio you use to create assessment value?
Our goal is to be very close to 100%.
Okay, if you look, okay, so this is not for you because I look about the history, average assessment ratio is 0.85, 0.87, 0.9. It's not 100%.
So in a community-wide reassessment year, that is when the assessor is looking at everything and bringing, their goal is to bring the assessments to 100%. When they'll be left alone next year, and the state will determine that ratio for a number of years.
Something new, your departure from the history?
I can go ahead and give more background. Is this an appropriate time? I mean, I don't have a problem with that unless you're going to object.
I would prefer us answer the question on the market, on our assessment level, what it is in the town and how it relates to his question.
Sure, I can do that. Yeah, periodically, when a municipality drops either below 90% or goes above 110% relative to market value, and that's determined annually by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, there is a time frame then that the municipality has to pull their assessments back into compliance. That can be done two ways: either if the market retracts and it's pulled back in organically, or if the assessor does a revaluation and revalues property. So again, we have to be between 90 and 110% to be in compliance with the state. So it's not a new trend for assessors to assess to 100% periodically. In a municipality like this, it's very typical every 5 to 8 years for a municipality to be close to 100%.
So do you think that 30% increase on annual basis is correct in my case?
Yeah, so the last revaluation that we had in this municipality.
I'm sorry, I'm asking for annual, yearly, 20,
Yep.
21 to 2020 is at 30%. I am not asking for history.
Yep, I'm trying to explain, I guess, what happened. So the last time we performed a revaluation for the town of Lisbon was January 1 of 2013. So when your home was built and completed in 2017, because of our uniformity clause that we have, we use that model that was built, that assessment model that was built in 2013 to assess your home, to make sure that you were on the same level of assessment as other similar properties. So even though your home wasn't physically there as of 2013, that's the assessment model that was used to price that out in 2017. So our change in assessed value of 28.7% was actually a difference of 8 years. So it was a market snapshot of 1/1/2013 that established your value of 384.6, and then it was a market snapshot of 1/1/2021 that established your assessed value of 516.6.
Okay, so this is the problem with the assessment ratio. And you juggle the number, whatever you fit to your needs. I really don't understand. This is a question for all of you.
We'll let you ask any questions you'd like of testimony of the assessor at this point.
Okay, I'm done.
You anything else you want to add before the board asks you some questions?
The only thing I think I'd like to add is certainly something for the board to consider again is that Markarian hierarchy of valuing properties. Tier 1 information would be a recent sale of the subject, which we don't have. Tier 2 information would be comparable properties that have sold recently. I believe that I've provided that tonight, and I believe that the objector has only provided some tier 3 information tonight, which in his Zillow testimony. So I wish for you guys to consider the tier 2 information as more reliable.
That's
And
minus 10%.
certainly if you have any questions for me, that's all I have for now.
All right, so now it's the board's opportunity to ask any questions they have of the assessor. Well, I'll start. I mean, you mentioned, and I might have misheard you, but this house was built in 2015. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because I think I heard, I'm not sure if I heard 2017, but I just wanted to make sure that on the record that your adjustments are applied for that year build of 2015.
Yes, I apologize if I may have misspoke in my testimony, but yes, the subject property was built in 2015. Any and all adjustments were made considering that year built, 2015.
Even the house was sold.
Well, okay, so now you're going to have an opportunity.
I'm just disaster. Okay, go. I'm sorry.
So now anyone on the board has any other questions for the assessor? Linda does not. Becky?
No.
Doug?
Nope.
Do you state what the current level of assessment for 2021 is in the village?
We estimate that to be 100%.
All right, so the next on the list here was the assessor to ask questions based on questions raised by the board members. This is a little bit different than I've seen it in the past, but does the assessor have any questions based on questions raised by board members?
I do not.
Does the objector, this is the objector's chance to ask any questions based on the questions raised by the board members?
No.
All right, so then this is, you're going to have one last chance to state, just kind of briefly summarize your case. Then the assessor will, and then we'll be done and we'll deliberate.
I think I will stick the same exactly what I mentioned. Zillow and Realtor and other, I think they provide decent evaluation of the home value. What is provided here, it's mixture of houses manufactured from 2005, 2018, and there is a lot of correction based on the year for the interior. So I assume the error is plus minus 10%. All this modeling, everything. Again, I really take stand on your on the ratio. Historically, when I look, is much less than 100% from 84 to 90. And suddenly you increase to 100%. I don't understand this one, and I would be questioning and raising the question in the future. So I still think that what I propose, 455, is a proper assessed value, not market value, assessed value. Okay, thank you.
All right, then your turn, Les, for the last comments.
I don't have anything further.
All right, so then we are going to close testimony. And so this, I mean, I would look for a motion here, but there's a lot of other information ahead of that. That you're not
Yes,
looking for us to fill those out individually before we entertain a motion, are you?
So we aren't going to do a motion yet. The board members have one final opportunity to ask questions of either the objector or the assessor. And then we will close the hearing. And then once we begin deliberations, then we will go through the entire packet that is labeled. It looks like this. It's labeled findings of fact, determination, and decision. And we'll go through that one by one.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any other questions?
I have a question of the assessor. So when the house was built in 2015, you did not apply what was going on in the market then. You used what was used for the assessment in 2013.
That is correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Anyone else on the board have any questions?
I'd like to just ask and reiterate that by the state law or guidance is that you have to be close to 100% of market value to the assessed value.
Yes, to be in compliance with the state of Wisconsin Department of Revenue, between 90 and 110%.
So we have no choice in that. That's state mandate.
That is state law, and in fact, if you're not in a number of years, the state will step in and they will perform or supervise a revaluation for the town.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, if I hear no further questions, we're going to close testimony and we're not going to ask any other questions of the assessor or the property owner moving forward. So is everyone comfortable with that? We don't need a motion for that. We can just go ahead.
Correct. And just for the record, I would like to label the two exhibits that were provided by the assessor. The property record for the subject property, I'd like to label that Exhibit A. And then the sales comparison, I'd like to label that Exhibit B.
Do you, I mean, this was submitted as well. That was by the property owner.
Yep. And that's going to be, the property owner is going to be Exhibit A.
Can I ask one more question?
Do you want, so the Exhibit A from the property owner, Exhibit A from the assessor?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
Am I allowed to ask a question of the objector?
I mean, I guess, do we officially close or not? I mean,
We have not officially closed.
okay, so go ahead.
Is it okay?
Yeah, so if we're not closed, then you're able to do that.
So you gave this one example of a house that was across the street from you, which did not sell at this price. But there's no indication of anything like how this house was comparable to yours at all.
Yeah, I know, as I said, it's a
So
much
we-
larger, it's a 5-bedroom house.
Sir, can you please use the microphone so it appears on the
It is
record?
much larger house. I thought that, real estate people that they can find this easy, but okay. It is a much larger house, 5 bedrooms. I think that 2.5 baths. The same similar lot, I would say probably around 1 acre. And I said that last year was listed, and I could watch the sign. They remove after a few months. They put not so long ago when they remove again.
So did it sell ever?
Didn't, no, did not sell.
But what they listed it for was almost $100,000 over what the assessor is saying those homes are kind of valued at. Right?
No, assessor didn't say anything about this house.
No, that's not what I said, but I understand what's going on, okay?
Sir, and didn't you say that was a two-story?
I think it is two-story on the
Well,
back.
see, and we don't have any information regarding that, and it really, you can't compare ranch to a two-story.
No, I understand, but you compare price and increase price.
You can't compare price
Oh.
between it.
Why?
'Cause that's
Increase
the way
an
it is.
increase. You think the ranch house will increase 50% and two-story 20%?
Sir, I'm just telling you,
Oh,
you have
no,
to
I
take like
don't-
for like.
All right. Any other questions from the board of either party?
No.
Right. And I will officially close the testimony and the board will deliberate.
At 6:56 PM.
Do you want me to go through this or do you want to lead the board through this? What's your preference?
We
So-
can start at the beginning. Go ahead, you're the
Okay,
chair.
all right. So, again, this is new to the board. I don't think we've gone through this form and filled it out specifically, so this works. So the objector received written confirmation of the hearing dates, so that would be a yes.
Yes, I emailed him.
Both the objector and the assessor waived the 48-hour notice. That's
Not
the
applicable.
case, right? Taxpayer must have filed a written objection before the board of review. So we're either going,
He did file timely.
all right, timely notice. And then, so board members present, Brahm is here, Beal is here, Otecker and Gerke. Board council presence. So that'd be yes, and I'm sorry.
Yes, Luke Martell, Martell.
And the property owner did not have representation, but the property owner himself is here. And we have correctly identified the board members who have their board of review training that is current, being
Correct. We've got Brahm, Moonen, Plotecker, and Gerke.
all right. So I hadn't, the part B of the form, which is the testimony. So the individuals that were sworn in and witnessed by the board of review clerk included the property owner and the assessor. So number one here, the sworn testimony by the property owner and slash objector included a recent sale to the property. That would be a no. This is how you'd like me to go through this. And again, this is new to us. So,
Yep.
so then we're going to move on to recent sales of comparables. So 1B, recent sale comparables. I would say that I would circle no here, that the property owner did not submit that evidence. Would everyone agree?
Yeah.
The total number of other sales presented would be 0. So item C, other factors or reasons. I mean, so he presented a listing of a property across the street, which had limited information. Right, so I'm going to write down mine listing of not so comparable property. All right, so item 2 then is sworn testimony on behalf of the owner that was presented. Other witnesses, yes and none. Item 3 is the sworn testimony presented by the assessor. We heard that the estimated level of assessment in this reval year is 100%. He stated that there was no recent sale of the property. He said that there was recent sales of comparable properties and that there was 5 sales presented. So on to the, so the addresses of the properties, and again, you label that as Exhibit B,
Yep.
so we can reference Exhibit.
Maybe we should go back and say, because on C2, 1C, you could put exhibit A for him,
All right, good point.
Sure.
okay?
All right, other factors or reasons, the assessor really did not, but I think if the reason stated was that there was adequate sales comparable information. So sworn testimony on behalf of the assessor, the assessor presented the information, there was no one else presenting.
Are you including that it was a full reval year as an other factor or a reason, or no?
I guess I was considering that on the 100% assessments ratio, but could you explain that, what you're suggesting?
I just wanted to clarify that that was not considered an other reason because we're assuming that the assessed valuation is 100%. That's where we're going with that, right?
Does anyone else have any thoughts on that? So I guess that would
Okay.
be a yes.
I just wanted to clarify for my minutes.
So
Sure.
it's a full reval? Is that what-
It was a townwide reval this year.
Yeah, the board paid,
Yep.
budgeted and
Well, sure did.
conducted a full reval this past year.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So summary of testimony from other witnesses, yeah, item 5 is none as well. Determinations, the assessor's estimated level of assessments in this municipality has been determined to be, that's item C1, is that 100% because of the reval. The board finds that okay, so here, this is for our determination. The board finds that there was a recent sale of the subject property. We're going to say no.
So we skip to number 3 on the next page.
Okay. The Board of Review finds that there are recent sales of comparable properties. Would we all agree that the answer to that is yes?
Yes.
So did the property owner present testimony of recent sales of comparable properties in the market area?
No.
That said no. Everyone agrees with that?
Yes.
And if yes, so that's one that's not applicable. So item C, did the assessor present testimony of recent sales of comparable properties in the market area?
Yes.
All right, we all agree that's yes. If yes, were the attributes satisfactorily adjusted for their differences from the subject and their how they contributed to value? I would say yes. Does everyone agree with
Yes,
that?
correct.
All right. List the properties and values that the Board of Review relies on to make its determination as to the fair market value. So we could, if someone wants to differentiate between the 5 sales, we could do that. Otherwise, we could reference.
Exhibit B?
Assessor Exhibit B.
Mhm.
All right, nothing else to add there. We'll move on to item 4. The Board of Review finds that the assessment should be based on other factors. I would say no. What do other people feel?
No.
All right.
Skip to D.
Skip to D. So exercising its judgment and discretion pursuant to section 70.47(9)A Wisconsin statutes, Board of Review by majority and roll call vote hereby determines, I'm going to mark all that apply. That the assessor's evaluation is correct.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so we say yes to that.
Yeah.
That the assessor presented evidence of the fair market value of the subject property using assessment methods which conform to the statutory requirements and which are outlined in the Wisconsin Property Assessment Manual.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we all agree on that.
So it'd be preferable if we did a roll call vote for each one. If you guys want to discuss prior to doing the vote, that's not an issue. If you want to discuss all of, what the decision is going to be, that's fine. But the ultimate decision, if we could do a roll call vote for each factor, that'd be preferable.
Is this form and is this way of doing this new? I mean, we've been doing this for
Yeah.
15 or number of years. I've been to many other board reviews.
Not a new form, but it has been used at every training that I have participated in as long as I've been a clerk.
I have no objection to it. It's just that that's why I think we're all maybe.
We've
It was
never
also
used this.
drafted by our attorney's office, and our attorney's office is who does the statewide
I've
trainings.
taken John's course many times. I mean,
This is an updated version of his script, but yeah, this is what the Department of Revenue recommends Board of Review goes through making their deliberation.
okay, so you're suggesting that we could jump forward to the motion and then this would be part of our discussion of these individual items? Or what are you suggesting?
What I would suggest is that the board discuss what its ultimate decision is going to be, and then when we make the decision official, we do a roll call vote to ensure we have everyone's vote on the record before they make an ultimate decision.
But you're not looking for a roll call vote on each of these individual items.
I mean, it'd be preferable.
Why?
Let's say there was 10 cases tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just, my job is to look forward to the record if it ever gets appealed to the circuit court. If we had each individual vote for each of these numbers on the record, it would be much better for our case in circuit court.
I mean, there's no time constraints tonight, but I just,
Right, I mean, I understand it seems tedious and it can get repetitive. But I'm just saying to create the best possible record, that's what we recommend. Obviously, you guys run, your board review, however you'd like to do it. But that would be my recommendation. If you just want to discuss this and make a final determination at the end and do that by roll call vote, that's fine.
And include each point that they agree upon.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to do that if you'd like.
all right, so if we look at this, and again, I think this is a little bit new to all of us, but this form, unless people took it this year, maybe it's a little bit fresher, but so the decision, there's one and then there's two. And the first point is that the assessor's valuation is correct. And then the other one is that the assessor's valuation is incorrect. So let's have some discussion and then we can entertain a motion. But I mean, my thoughts, so this is the time to present our thoughts, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think we're all, I mean, I can see we're all in agreement that the property owner, my feelings that the property owner did not meet the burden. That the burden was on the property owner to show that the assessor's assessment was incorrect. We had testimony from the property owner that related to, increases from a previous assessment, but not really in regards to the thoughts on the property value as of January 1st of 2021. There's no recent sale of the property that was discussed, and the property owner did not present any comparable sales. There's comparable sales out there, so I don't think there's any way that even if we thought some of the adjustments were off slightly from the assessor, that the property owner did not present anywhere near sufficient information for us not to withhold the assessment presented by the assessor.
I agree.
Agree.
I agree also.
All right, so with that being said, we could have a motion that's, I still don't know if I followed the attorney's recommendation. We have an overall motion. It could be an overall motion that incorporates in each of these points.
Sure, so if you want to go through these points and just generally agree on which points are agreeable, and then make a motion to accept all the points that were marked that you all agreed on, that's fine, as long as it's a roll call vote.
Sure, I think we're all familiar with that,
Will do.
part of it.
Okay.
Does someone want to make a motion, or should I suggest a motion, or what's?
Well, let's talk about the points first.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone through bullet points 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Does bullet point 3 apply? That the assessor presented evidence of the
Yes.
proper classification of
Yes.
the subject property using assessment methods which conform to the statutory requirements and which are outlined in the Wisconsin Property Assessment Manual.
Yes.
Yes.
Does bullet point 4 apply, that proper use values were applied to the agricultural land?
Does not apply.
No.
Bullet point 5, that the proper fractional assessments were applied to undeveloped land and agricultural forest land classifications.
Not
No.
applicable.
6, that the property owner did not present sufficient evidence to rebut the presumption of correctness granted by law to the assessor.
Yes.
Yes.
that the assessor's valuation is reasonable in light of all the relevant evidence.
Yes.
And how do you feel about sustaining the same valuation as set by the assessor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if someone would like to make a motion, I would have you include the points that you just agreed upon, which is bullet point 1, 2, 3, excluding 4 and 5, including 6, 7, and 8.
So do we have a motion?
Okay, I make a motion, we accept bullet points 1,
So you're going to make your motion.
Yeah.
Starting there.
or exercising its judgment and discretion pursuant to section 70.47, 9(8) of the Wisconsin statutes, the Board of Review by majority and roll call here, a vote hereby determine. 1, bullet point 1, 2, 3, accept, 4, no, 5, no, 6, yes, 7, yes, 8, yes, 9, no.
Okay, and I'm just going to read those aloud for the record. 1, that the assessor's valuation is correct.
Yes.
2, that the assessor presented evidence of the fair market value of the subject property using assessment methods which conform to the statutory requirements and which are outlined in the Wisconsin Property Assessment Manual. 3, that the assessor presented evidence of the proper classification of the subject property using assessment methods which conform to the statutory requirements and which are outlined in the Wisconsin Property Assessment Manual. 6, that the property owner did not present sufficient evidence to rebut the presumption of correctness granted by law to the assessor. 7, that the assessor's valuation is reasonable in light of all the relevant evidence. 8, and sustains the same valuation as set by the assessor. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Right, is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All right, hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Brahm,
Yes.
Supervisor Beal,
Yes.
Supervisor Plotecker,
Yes.
and BOR Chairman Gerke.
Yes, aye. All right, motions carries 4-0. So that closes this case. Do you want to provide the property owner with anything here
Yep,
tonight?
I've got the
yet?
paperwork here. If I can find it.
I do have it filled out already.
Do you?
Yes.
Awesome.
Who is this?
He is the second alternate.
Oh,
No, it doesn't.
yeah. No, he's from Looks.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah.
Yes, I just don't have one here.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a copy machine in this building, but I do have one of these.
I do too, so I can make another copy.
I did have one.
I have 2 here. So if you'd like to, I guess it'd be up to the town if you'd like to hand deliver it tonight, or if you'd like to mail it by certified mail.
I will.
Historically, we've done if the property owner has stayed around, we've given it to them in person. I mean,
Yeah.
Save a couple bucks.
that's
Just frustrated.
It's standard in the
No, I
past, yes.
have it.
Do you have 2 copies, or you said?
I have copies for the official record and a copy for myself, so we're set.
So,
But doesn't,
yeah,
gentlemen?
yes. So can we pass out 1 copy, and then you can make a copy of that for you before you leave tonight?
We can send it to or email it to you.
I'm sorry, what's the
So-
holdup?
I can hand it to him and personally deliver it, in which case we can adjourn the 2021 Board of Review. Otherwise, if I don't hand deliver it, I still need a copy for the record. Then I have to send it by certified mail, and we have to give him so long to receive it because I have to get that receipt of delivery back in the mail. Then we would have to meet to adjourn,
Jeez.
which could be done immediately prior to a town board meeting. It would be gavel in, gavel out.
Well, why don't you just give him a copy? And like you were saying, can't you just give a copy and send it to?
So we don't have to immediately adjourn. We give it to them now and then we wait until 8:05 to adjourn, right? Because we need to be here for 2 hours.
Right.
I'm sorry, is anyone else lost?
Yes, I'm lost.
There's a copy machine right across the hall here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean,
Is there one?
Yeah.
I have a copy here.
Oh, you do have a copy
Yep,
here.
yep.
That's what I wasn't understanding.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to be,
It was
Sorry.
confusing. That's okay. No, it was confusing. Is that all signed and everything now? Does this have to be signed that you gave him?
No, no. It just has to be recorded.
Okay.
I have your name because I feel that we will be meeting more. I have your name because I didn't catch your name.
right. So next, I mean, we're going to be here for until 8:05. So that's all the hearings we've had. So communication of any other business is authorized by law. And then we can go, after that, we'll go back to just reviewing the assessment roll and kind of going into a slight recess. But do you have a report and other information that you'd like to present here at this point, Les?
That'd be great. That'd be great. So I do have a couple things I'd like to share. So the first thing that I'd like to relay is I ran our annual summary of reason for change for the town of Lisbon. And
Yes, so you, I'm sorry, yeah, so you are done. I mean, you're welcome to pursue other avenues, which I think you might have had information presented to you tonight. Otherwise, if you come back in 2022, hopefully the process tonight has given you enough information on how to, if you come back in front of this board, the next chance would be in 2020. All right. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
sorry, let's go ahead.
Great. So I ran our annual summary of reason for change worksheet, and this extracts all the different changes by class throughout the town of Lisbon. And of course, the most important one, or a very important one, is the town's net new construction. So it was a fairly busy year, as everybody could imagine, seeing all the new homes and other projects that were occurring. So our net new construction this year was right around $37 million.
Wow.
So yes, we were very, very busy performing inspections of a lot of projects. Most of that was from building permits that were issued in 2020 and then unfinished projects from prior years.
What does that work out to on a percentage of total assessment?
Let me, that's.
I know a while they were hovering around $1 billion, but I'm assuming we're well above that now.
Yes, just shy of 1.5 billion.
Oh, okay. And that's with the, obviously the large jump from the reassessment.
Correct.
So as far as the net new construction allows a certain, increase in the levy, which would be based off, I mean, the assessment ratio has to be factored in there somehow.
Yeah, so it was, the net new construction this year was 2.5%. Compared to the total assessed value of the town. So that's, from what I've seen through history, that's a fairly busy year. Yep. So I did print some statistics as well and run through that. So last year, January 1 of 2020, the Department of Revenue estimated that our level of assessment was 80.7% overall. So I ran our assessment to sale ratio within our market drive program, and the aggregate ratio I'm coming up with is 100%. Our coefficient of dispersion, which is, again, it's a very good measurement of uniformity, is at 7. So anything below 15 is acceptable by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. So we're always shooting to have that coefficient of dispersion in single digits. A 7 after a revaluation without all physical inspections is a really solid place to be, in my opinion. And then again, our price related differential is at 100.9. So again, that means that we should be confident in the valuation model that has been built, and it should provide uniform assessments for a long time, and likely till the next reval. So my guess is barring any major change in the market, my guess moving forward is board reviews will be pretty light and pretty uneventful. So I also printed out all of the valid arm's length sales that occurred throughout the town of Lisbon in the calendar year 2020. So I'll pass these along. They're kind of fun to look at. The sales prices are in the upper right-hand corner. The home information is kind of on the lower half of these pages, and it's pretty eye-opening to see some of these duplicate sales that have sold, say, back in 2014 and then resold in 2020. To see what those changes are. They're quite dramatic. And then as far as open book went, we saw 113 people. I just extracted that data. So we met with 113 people at open book. And again, a lot of that contact was just educating people about the process and possibly speaking to them about different tax implications. There were some, of course, some information that was presented to us that we weren't aware of, either possibly in an appraisal or photos or even in an on-site visit, or verified with an on-site visit, that we made some adjustments to. But most of the adjustments that we made were fairly minor, and most of them were just correcting the property record if there was an adjustment made. So the assessments overall, I believe, were fairly well received. It was a large percentage increase. I believe our average was just shy of 30%, but it had been 8 years. So I've seen longer time in between revaluations. That's a fairly typical time. But of course, as everybody knows, the market the past few years has been quite exceptional. So that drove that percentage increase higher than what we typically see. So, but again, I believe the tone of the people that had concerns was relatively good. I believe we were able to address most concerns and educate folks. And again, I believe we just had a small handful of people at the end of this process that we just kind of agreed to disagree at that point. So, and as evidenced as tonight, there weren't a lot of large issues out there.
And I think most of us were anticipating a more full night or a couple nights here being every reval year. So
Yes.
I was surprised to see the email last week that there wasn't any as of Friday.
I am always happy to send good news emails like that.
Yes. Yes, Judy from our office really led our team during open book, and I thought she did a very nice job. speaking with individuals here. And certainly she knows this area very, very well and knows the market. So again, I think the project, in my eyes, turned out very well.
I mean, it was done, open book was done differently this year than, or I guess this year and last year than it had been previously.
Yes. Yep, correct. Yeah, open book was just generally done over the phone or by email. So we did meet with a few folks at their home, but 95% of it was done either by phone or email. So, and what we've been finding out the past 2 or 3 years now is that people are actually preferring to go that route, to handle things by email or by phone. I'd say 75% of it's probably by email. And we've had a good response as far as when we want to verify informations of people taking photos and sending those in an email or even sending them by text at night, yeah, all sorts of different things going on. But it's worked out real well. And I think things are changing a little bit from, having 4 people sit for 2 full days in a town hall, taking in-person meetings, to doing things more virtual. I think it's a little more convenient for the property owner. And certainly I think in our industry, moving forward, I think we'll probably have both of those options available for everybody. So if people prefer to meet in person, I think we'll have that available. But I think the majority of it we'll handle over phone or by email. So.
All right.
Can I ask a question? It's just going to be an opinion.
I think that's all. I mean, this is kind of time for that, right? You're comfortable with that? All right.
With the housing market the way it is, and with the news, and people are paying over market price. People are
Over list price.
over list price, right? They come in with a certain percentage over list price. Otherwise, people don't even, right? I mean, they're
Right.
even, the banks and stuff are knowing that they're doing this. How does that relate to fair market value, and how long will that? It's like a bubble, right? It's not. So what happens with that?
Great question. Great question. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen this before, right? Where the market's gone kind of nuts like this. I believe we have a better foundation as far as lending practices now. But in my opinion, at some point, I don't think wages are going to continue to support the increases that we're seeing right now. So, I mean, if the economy stays healthy and money stays fairly cheap to borrow, at some point, I believe there's got to be a slowdown.
More correction?
I don't want to hear that word.
Well,
There very well could be. There very well could be.
I think we might see foreclosures coming up again because of their overpaying, because people can't get what they paid for it even.
Yeah, if the economy doesn't stay healthy and people lose their jobs, that I think is a valid fear, right?
but when you're doing these appraisals of our current homes, a lot of this was all January. Your modeling and everything was like at the end of last year, or modeling of January, right? So a lot of this new bubble type of stuff isn't factored in here.
Yes, that's correct. So we looked
Okay.
at sales from 2020 and 2019. So those are the 2 years that we really honed in on as far as trying to set our valuations as of January 1, 2021. So, right, the new market right now, that is what it is. And that's something that we really didn't consider when looking at
That's not
and
really
setting
factored
these. Yeah, so,
Do you have a hard and fast rule that you will not look at a January 2nd sale?
no, there's no hard and fast rule that way. But again, we're trying to finalize things by April or May. And by the time we get transfers from the county, we might get January and February. So, so it's something to consider. Those sales typically aren't too different from the sales that happened in November, December. So, but I guess to expand a little bit on your question too is, in my opinion, in the assessment world, of course, one sale never makes a market. I don't want to hang my hat on one sale. So, we're looking at a grouping of sales, and whenever you're doing that, there's always outliers, higher and lower. And so, if we have one of these strange bidding wars, we'll say, that just gets out of hand, it's just atypical, and a property sells for, 100,000 over list, and that's the only time that's happened, that extreme, probably not going to put a lot of weight on that. Yeah.
You average all that out.
Right. So.
All right, on item 11, any other business? We can also, I guess, spend this time looking at the assessment roll. So we can take a kind of a recess, turn off the mics, and jump back in at 8:06, right?
Mhm.
That-
Did you need me to run across the hall and copy anything now?
That would be fantastic.
Should we push it down? Let's push it. Yes?
Okay, 8:03.
All right, so item 12 on the agenda is discussion on necessary action to approve the 2021 assessment roll as corrected by the assessor. If corrections are made, and from what we have, there was no corrections made, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then adjourn the Board of Review subject to the clerk satisfying these statutory duties. So we will still just kind of wait a couple minutes before we have that motion, but
Sounds
that's
good.
it.
I've got 8:03, so I'll let you know when it's 8:06.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions on the roll?
No.
Anything else to point out, so we don't just sit here in awkward silence for the next 2 minutes?
Can I make a motion to adjourn at 8:06?
I like the way you think.
So this is being recorded, but it's not being broadcast because you only can broadcast from the town hall? Or is it being broadcast?
No.
Or YouTube or whatever.
We have not been broadcasting. What we have been doing is, after the meeting is over, and we do this for town board and for plan commission. For Board of Review, we're only recording it because we have to by law, and this is the easiest way for me to do it.
Okay.
But we do put the video recordings of the town board and plan commission meetings on our YouTube page. And there are links to that on the agendas and minutes page of the website as well.
So it's not on YouTube Live then anymore, or
No.
it's only after the fact it's put up there? Okay.
Yeah, because we've been doing it with Zoom, there's just something about the connection that doesn't work properly. I don't understand it by electronics to tell you what that is.
You probably know people at the town hall Joe is obviously pretty decent with that stuff.
He
And
has helped me on a number of occasions where it's like, okay, why is the stupid computer not working? So it's nice to have electronically minded people around.
it started at 7 or at 8?
No, the Bucks game starts at 8.
Yeah, so we're not missing anything. I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna watch the game until 9:45, 10 o'clock. It's
halfway through the fourth
Towards the
quarter.
end,
right?
right?
I mean,
Right.
if it was a regular Brewer game, I'd watch the Brewer game and the Bucks game. But that's just me. All right, I think we got
I've got
8:06.
I have 8:06. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the 2021 assessment roll?
So moved.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded.
Made by Doug, second by Linda. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Is there a motion to adjourn the Board of Review subject to the clerk satisfying the statutory duties?
So moved.
All right, Doug made the motion and the seconded by
I second.
by Linda.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 4-0. We're adjourned.
I've got 8:07.
Perfect.